Hi everyone, today in the video we're gonna follow on in our marathon when we're talking about bases, and obviously we're gonna face them, the majority of the most important ones, that obviously focusing, trying to understand how they apply to our life, trying to understand when you're more susceptible to face them, and obviously trying to as well fight them in order to not face with the problems that comes with using this type of heuristics that our brain tends to use. Our brain tends to sometimes be busy because it tends to get kind of have a trade-off that it doesn't want to spend a lot of time having obviously to spend mental energy in trying to think, reasoning, and it prefers trying to spend less time doing decisions, but sometimes the outcomes that comes with the decisions will be so bad ones because we have not developed, we have not spent the time that should be needed to have a logical and reasoning being more deep. And then what's going to be the type of beast that we're going to face today is the false consensus effect. Why we think more people agree with us. This is something that it's mainly happens when we are in groups. So what is the false consensus effect? The false consensus effect is a cognitive bias that where we tend to overestimate how much other people share our opinions, beliefs, and behaviors. We assume that our views are normal and that most people think like us, even when that's not the case. So, the best way that we can show examples, mainly the personal preference that we tend to have. You love pineapple on pizza and assume most people probably do too. In reality, opinions are divided, but your personal preference makes you think it's more common than actually is. And that sometimes people that are in policies, that they produce policies, they try and they don't understand that the elements that are in the system, obviously they cannot understand these policies well, and that normally these people that are in power they hold it to face a lot of oppression because they tend to think in their own interest and they don't understand they're not the same as the majority of population that has other type of things that they got bothered with. It's different for what they face, and the reality is that it doesn't exist, that the adaptiveness then should exist. And these people have to understand, and this is something that's mainly important because certain times by we having this tendency to think the other ones have some type of perception as me, we tend to not have a good way to predict feedbacks of reaction that other ones gonna have in terms of some type of actions, things that you can say, things that you can do, that you're not expecting the others to react because you're assuming that they're all the same as you. And it's something that's bad, something that even can be dangerous. Other examples: workplace and decision making. A manager believes that everyone agrees with my strategy because the people around him don't happily disagree. This is something that's important. Neither all these false consensus exists because the reality is that false consensus can be caused by we thinking that other ones will have the same perceptions because I have. But obviously, we have to understand that when we're in group, we tend to be different when we're alone. When we're a group, we tend to have more receptiveness. We tend to try to reach sometimes solutions, decisions that are like just the average of what the majority of the people in that group try to think. And what happens sometimes is that the final decision that is taken, nobody in the group likes it. Nobody in the group initially, if they had to the decision alone, any just nothing of the parts of the group will do the same decision if they were alone, but just because they're in group they're trying to arrange a consensus in certain times by being a decision that no one has kind of seen as a perfection to be done. Sometimes when it's to put in action, nobody give their heart, they're gonna put all their efforts to try to make the decision being something that happens. And what sometimes can happen is that decision is already so kind of predestined be uh, to not be successful. Other things, political and social issues, is something that as well where these tend to happen a lot. A person strongly supporting a political cause assumes that most reasonable thinkers think like me, and that sometimes we kind of face the duality when people are against one or others. We have the right against the left, and just because right thing seems is so right, they try to face and see the left people that are kind of dangerous. A lot happens as well with the left they think that progressives that we always have to be progressive, and sometimes we even entering things that we don't like because people have to be and want to be so progressive that whenever it is whatever exists someone that doesn't like that type of progressive type of measures, they already call things that nobody likes, things that are terms that are they're too much deep to be called so softly towards other persons. And so this type of of perception, then other one has to think the same as me and they should, then whatever so things goes against this belief, I'm too much protective and I try to be aggressive and hostile towards so the people that have these different perceptions that I will not expecting, because I'm expecting the world be more as I would think that should be, because it will be closer to what I am. And so now what we have to understand is trying to fight it, because we've seen that it's thing that creates oppressions, creates wars, creates solutions that nobody likes. So we have to understand what are the peoples when we're most susceptible, so people that are more susceptible causes, and how to fight. So when we were in echo chambers, social media and friend groups often reinforce our beliefs. That's something that's true. We kind of put normally you already so in beliefs in the groups that we normally already have like a filter that are people that are close to me, so I'm gonna like, and then so I'm gonna pass all my days with that people. Then whenever I have like exposition to a different one of my bubble that is more close to reality, I think it's something that's is someone that is like extreme from the society when is more close to be sometimes the reality than what my position is. When we don't hear opposing views, yes, don't having the possibility to hear other ones, we create more so even more type of bubble a typed one, where so we are common and we just face we think that I close to me. And that sometimes happens not just in terms of opinions or what people think. Sometimes the rich ones and poor ones, rich ones they try to do actions that are best for them without thinking what the poor ones so-called suffer with this consequence, and they don't have this perception so they don't have the ability to have empathy of the side effects of what they do in the other lives. So it's something as well that can be a creator of lack of empathy. So when we feel strongly about the topic is another thing, when you're kind of strongly attached to something that we like, so we have less plasticity to hear the things that are different from what I have been attached as an opinion. So the more passionate we are, the more we assume others see in the same way is as well other thing that do we do care as well. So how to overcome the false constant effect? Seek diverse perspectives, actively listen to different opinions. Yes, it's good. Ask, don't assume. That's something that's good. We sometimes we assume things, and we assume we kind of get things as guaranteed and make us have like less ability to think with more type of constraint, and assuming that the things are predictable, are 100% certain, and so we take bad decisions when we don't have like more bothering. So ask, don't assume. Instead of guessing, engage in real conversations to understand others' views. Be aware of social bubbles. It's like one of the most important ones. Social media and friend groups may not reflect the broader population. That's something that people lack in this type of effect a lot. And consider opposing arguments as well. So consider them with more less as extreme and out of reality and don't care, but seeing it in reality, just seeing the arguments, trying to look more for the logic, to look for what's real instead of just trying to treat things as extreme, because even so in the other's mind as well creates more tolerance towards you that so is a thing that everyone seems to like, people being tolerant to each other. That so is a creation that make us be less prone to always be in wars. So have you ever assumed that most people agree with you only to be surprised? That's the false constant effect in action. Let me know in the comments if you have noticed these bees in your life, and I expect this video has helped you to be a better person. See you in the next one.